There, little puss, I kick your fucking teeth down your throat, yeah.
How you think I'm living?
Feel like I'm losing my sight, losing my mind, but not losing this fight, doing my time. Living me, losing my life, you are my time. Red, blue, and white stripes on fire. The American terrorist, terrorizing your terrorists, verifying each shot's direct hits. No spirit, better resist the Al-Qaeda of this. Let the lyrical jihad commits. Rossi is intense. The priest call me now the prince. Ross of Verifax, launching attacks for world dominance. Y'all should watch your back. May start an early apocalypse. For Washington on the map and a huge condom upon the monument. For all the virgin snatches, economics and politics. Long from the back like cute little foreign chicks. But watch me slap him with this suicide bomb attempt. Knocking like a head off then, replacing it with Osama bin Laden. Selling Saddam t-shirts on the White House lawn. Yelling Sharpton for president out of a... Watch this.
Hello, and welcome to NUSIC Live. My name is Jacob Moss. I'm your host. It's our first show. It's going to be good. So NUSIC is our philosophy. It's we're going for news plus music here at Listen Vision. We have a live studio audience. We have lots of stuff to talk about today. I'm going mostly into news. We don't have a guest today. It's just me. I'm going to make a little introduction for the show. We're not going to go with the full hour. We're going to go for a half hour. Here we go. So in Jon Stewart's last episode, he was saying goodbye, and he reminded everybody to stay skeptical but not cynical. And as a journalistic type show, I'd like to embody that and know that anything could be wrong, never trust anybody, but never lose hope. So, this week's top stories. Number 1, Vermont Senate legalizes recreational marijuana. Yeah, give us some. And this is actually pretty historical because it's the first time that a state legislature has legalized recreational marijuana just in the Senate, in their state Senate, within their legislature, with no actual citizen referendum, no people coming to, I mean, obviously some people were going to these politicians, and I think some of the politicians were the people, chances are. So, that's really exciting. And on a similar note, Massachusetts, as well as Colorado, they've publicly stated that their state police are not going to be interfering with recreational cannabis usage, and they're not going to be helping the feds at all. They're just totally going to ignore that, and so that's a thing. Our next story, all right. Our next story. So the North Carolina Congressional map is being redrawn because it was super heavily gerrymandered by the Republicans. And if you don't know what gerrymandering is, it's basically a way to manipulate the districts so the votes turn into your favor. So we have a graphic, a pretty simplified example of what gerrymandering is. So on the left, you see very clearly that blue overpowers red, and then in the middle, it's divvied up pretty equally in a fair manner, and blue wins. But in gerrymandering, if you don't know, they separate all of the districts into these crazy things, so you can see they put as many blue squares as possible into one district, and squares being, people. So now here's North Carolina's map, and that's what it looks like now, and they're trying to change it. You see number 2, the green, and number 4 and 3 is just, they're, why would that make sense? That's how they're divvied up. So The federal judges have deemed that unconstitutional, and they are fixing that. And this actually happens pretty often. That's how these politicians get a hold of districts. And currently, Maryland is in the same predicament, but they're not doing anything yet. So, gerrymandering, North Carolina, good for y'all. That is so awesome. A law in Washington State has prevented 1,200 gun purchases in the past 5 months. And about 71 of those were denied to people who had restraining orders on them. So whether you think that gun regulation is a good thing or not, that is a good step for regulating, I suppose. Yeah. Do we have anything else on that? No, I do not. But that's cool. Shout out to astronaut John Young, who was 87, died on Saturday. He is the only astronaut to have ever walked on the moon twice. Once in 1972 and once in 1981. So, what a magnificent human being. Good for him. And, much regard to his family and everything. All right, in world news, Belize, the country of Belize, is taking crazy steps to protecting their barrier reef. They are now totally not allowing any kind of oil drilling or activity at all, which is just so great for them. Congratulations to Belize. They are the first country, the first developing country to do anything significant to battle oil spillage, the oil companies, essentially, right? And that's just going to save so many turtles and jobs, honestly. And, shout out to Belize. North Korea. Here we go with North Korea. All right. North Korea and South Korea have been in talks about the Winter Olympics coming up in Pyeongchang, which is in South Korea. And they have decided that, yes, North Korea will be participating. Hopefully there's no drama. There's no crazy stuff that happens over there in Pyeongchang, thanks to the North Koreans. We will see. I mean, that's all I have to report on that. They said yes, and I think that's a good move for the relations for South and North Korea. The Olympics have always kind of been this time of peace, and it's good. And finally, on to Trump news, because why else do you watch a news show but to hear about our presidential unit? The book Fire and Fury by Michael Wolff has reached the bestseller list after Trump, of course, said, "It is a fake book written by a totally discredited author," while he simultaneously was sicking his lawyers on the book, trying to stop its publication completely. Personally, I would like to cite doublethink in the Ministry of Truth. He is a perfect example of all of that, the doublethink, the double speak, the 1984 references. Go read the book. It's a good one. And, of course, our second Trump story, the shithole comment. Yeah. So he was speaking to legislators in the White House about, what were they? El Salvador, Haiti, and several African countries, I think, including Kenya, according to some flags that I've seen. And, he said verbatim, "Why are we having all these people from shithole countries come here?" And he went on to say, "Why do we need more Haitians? Take them out." And he suggested that he wanted more Norwegians, you know, the white blonde folk he's awfully fond of. So we get to talk about Trump and the rest of this stuff on this show. So we don't really have to think about it the rest of the week, because I'd like to not think about it at all. But I really need to get it out of my system. I need to talk about it. I need to vent and really like internalize what's happening. And then I would much prefer to just totally ignore it for the rest of the week. That's what my Fridays are for. All right. Here at Listen Vision Live, NUSIC Live, we have been creating these pieces. Artists and musicians and rappers, they don't like to typically split their fan base down the middle. So they don't typically talk about religion or politics. And the unique part about us being located in Washington, D.C. is that they will. There's something about Washington, D.C. that you feel the buzz. You feel the political buzz, the social justice buzz. And for some reason, we can go out and talk to all these artists, and they're willing to talk about politics. So we're going to go into this video with Dougie Fresh, who we had the fortune to interview a few months ago at Richard Wright Charter School. And Monica Livingston from 3-6 Nation did the interview. I was behind the camera. DJ Boom was the executive producer on this. And we'll be coming out with a lot more pieces like this in the future. We only have a few now, but here's Dougie Fresh.
I want to just create the vehicle that people can get on, because while police got a job to do, everybody in the community has equally as a job to do in our community to ensure safety in our communities.
Why did you feel like you had to do this initiative? Talk to me about why it's necessary.
It's necessary because our kids are getting beat up every day going home, coming to school, and it's important that we get enough adults out on the street. You know, if we get more adults out there, the presence of just adults is going to change the way people look at them. And so the reality is that the more we can get the community involved, you know, it does take an entire village. This is a call out to the city to get adults involved. And you know, there's some people that want to get involved but don't know how. So today we're making a call to action. We're going to have some fun doing it. Dougie's going to be here and do his thing. And so we're excited. I got some kids that are going to perform because we want everybody in the district to know that our kids are great and we need to get out and support them.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is Doug E. Fresh, and I'm at Richard Wright's Charter School, and it's going down right here.
What is important about students in safe passage?
Well, I think one of the things that's important is when we look at the way the world is, you know, you gotta have people from the community or just friends and family just making sure that the kid gets to school, gets home, gets the education. I think it's a beautiful thing because it incorporates everybody in helping to make sure that, you know, things continue to flow and the kids are protected. This is about unity. Talk about peace, deceased ghetto stars, funeral parlors filled with adolescent scholars. Out of anger we get banged for less than $1. Strive for the day, my aspirations for tomorrow. Uplift the youth and practice my preaching and be remembered for my teaching. See peeps and families in pain, and it's a shame. The tongue the one thing that y'all cats can't tame. Bullet shots rain and it's really no aim. The only thing changed in the game is the name. No matter where you go, it all stay the same. If you was the greatest, then you supposed to entertain. Let the world know your name.
3-6 Nation Radio, WLVS Radio, and Listen Vision Live Studios. I'm here with the one and the only Doug E. Fresh. You come back to D.C. quite often, and you've even been to Listen Vision Live Studios before. What is it about the D.C. music scene that keeps you coming back over and over again? D.C.
is a special place. I mean, D.C. is one of those places that, you know, the vibration has always been here from the time when I first came to D.C. and performed at Capitol Center in 1985. This is the home of Chuck Brown, and and spiritually it's just a whole nother vibration that DC carry. I always love coming to DC, the people, the energy, the food, the fun, and go-go is my...
Oh, hey. Here we go. All right, so that was Dougie Fresh talking about social justice issues and education and lots of other important stuff. And we're really hoping to get lots more stuff like that. So today's topic of discussion, our main story, our philosophical debate, I don't have one. We'll have them in the future when I have guests. But today, it's just me, and this is our first show. So, I shall be telling you about the show. My name is Jacob Moss. I'm the digital content manager and the head broadcast engineer here at Listen Vision Studios. And like I said earlier on the show, NUSIC is news plus music from Listen Vision. So we are not doing news about music. We're doing music about the news. So you could see Dougie Fresh in that piece. We remixed him a little bit, right? We took his words, put a beat behind him, remixed it. It's our stuff. In the future, I'd love to have artists, rappers, singers, punk bands, whatever, come in and perform their political-driven songs. And anybody who has a political opinion, I'd love to have you on. From uber libertarians who eat nothing but steak and cigars for breakfast, to our hippy-dippy cousins who have teal hair and eat sprouts. Because for some reason, eating has something to do with your politics. All right. Usually, I am behind the board where Jay is, and I broadcast, I think, 40 shows a week, and there are a lot of them. And shout out to all of you, because you're all quality programming. Everybody here, everybody in camera land, tune in every week for all of our shows, because we have 70-something shows, and we always need more viewers. WLVS Radio on YouTube, WLVS Radio on Facebook. Yeah. But this is my show, so I get to talk about whatever I want. And I don't personally care about Cardi B. I don't really care about the Kardashians. I don't really care about, I don't know, a lot of things. But I do care about this stuff. So I'm going to be talking about the politics, environmental news, science, cannabis, cryptocurrencies, LGBT issues, racial issues, gender issues, feminine issues, all that stuff. And it will develop, and we will explore and grow together. I think that's all I got. It's going to be a short show this week, only 20 minutes in. So until next week, where I even have more news and show for you, enjoy the rest of the programming coming up. District Spotlight with DJ Boom. And up next for my programming, we have Wyclef Jean. So he was over here at Howard, and he was just spitting with some students and having some fun and kind of just goofing around. And then Roland Martin showed up randomly. Roland Martin was literally popping into a class and then walked by and saw Wyclef. And here we are. Here's a result. All right. Till next week. See you later.
We definitely have to do a form of awakening.
Watch this.
Listen Vision, Listen Vision. DC's #1 recording studio.
Check this out. Get barred up with y'all. You ready? Food for thought. What if Martin Luther stayed in the room, never stepped foot in the balcony? What if they had a bulletproof car instead of a drop top for Kennedy? Malcolm did the speech, what if I sat amongst the congregation? So when them boys scream, get your hands on my pocket, I fired shots at the assassins. Howard, ain't nothing new under the sun. What if I had put blank in Marvin Gaye's father's gun? Then I'll dip to Paris, put all the paparazzi in a slammer. So that way that night they would've never chased Princess Diana. Favorite singers, Bob Marley, never been to his show. But what if the cancer never spread? Cause he cut off his toe. I'm with the Bobo Dreads in Jamaica. They like past the chalice. The bomb's so strong, the guards get in contact at Buckingham Palace.
We decided to shoot some footage on the campus of Howard, and so we decided to come to the yard, and I followed a couple of students. I ran them who were broadcast majors, and so I went to class with them. And so then we literally were walking back to go to our car, and I said, what's the group over there gathered? A couple of students said, Wyclef. I said, oh, I know Wyclef.
Howard, this where, I remember we performed here, Jay-Z, Fugees, Maxwell, this was homecoming for us. So it was important to come back. It's crazy, just, you run for president, and then you come back to this generation. And all of these kids are relating to the new Wyclef music like it's 1997. So it was important to not only do it on the internet. The power of millennials are very important. And the thing is, because people was like, oh, they're not active. They're very active, They're so active to the point where they really stay back and didn't vote. I'm just telling you, and I could just be honest with you, the kids right now, they're not either Republican or Democrat.
Issue-based, not party.
Issue-based, not party.
All right, man. Always good
I love
seeing
you, man. Good seeing you.
Watch this. Watch this.